Hello, everyone. It's Julie Santiago here, and I am here with the absolutely beautiful and amazing Charlotte Buell. Charlotte, welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being here and for joining us. For those of you who are watching video, Charlotte has this like epic forest scene in the background, which I think is so incredibly representative of who you are and especially who you are now, or who you've remembered yourself to be after our work together. And I'm just really happy to have you here. So for all of you who are watching this video, for listening, just please say hello to Charlotte with me and help me welcome her. Charlotte has such an incredible story and so much wisdom to share from the journey that she's just been on through our work together over these past few months. And I'm just really happy to have you here, Charlotte, and really honor that you're taking the time to talk about your experience and just to share everything that you've learned over these past few months, because I know it has been one heck of a ride. So welcome.
Thanks.
Yeah, so I'm gonna turn it over to you, just hand you the microphone for a little bit. I'd love for you to tell us first. We're just going to talk about like where you are now, what
Okay.
life looks like right now, today, where you are, right? So how are things now in this moment? And if you want to give us any background about like what, kind of your job or, your title or the work you do or anything like that, where you live, feel free to share all that. But let's talk about the present moment and then we'll flash back and talk about where you were. But where are you now?
Oh man. Okay. Um, where am I now? I'm like so excited. I don't even know where to start. I know that I don't care if it sounds cheesy. It's awesome. Okay, so where I am now. So right now the role I'm in and the role I was still in whenever I started my work with Julie is I'm an attorney for an international corporation. So as you can imagine, yes, it's a lot of travel. Yes, it's a lot of work. It's hardcore, really intense. And I was really, really struggling in the beginning, but I'll talk about that later. Where I am now, since doing the work, is I'm able to hear myself, which is kind of crazy because I've been in survival mode for so long, and I can share whatever any if there's any questions out there, if anyone wants to reach out to me after, I'm more than happy to share my story deeper. But like through deaths in my life of people very close to me, and like all this really tough stuff, 12-step programs, like just some really intense things to deal with. I'm 32 at a pretty young age. I couldn't hear myself anymore because I was in survival mode big time. And once things started to settle, I had the career, I decided to stop drinking. I have a fiance within a good relationship finally. I've been in a couple of relationships that weren't so great. I'm sure some of you can relate to as well. I can hear it. I can hear my heart. And I remember when I first started the work, one of the practices that I did, it was an envisioning process. And I envisioned myself sitting around a campfire, and it's whatever comes up for you. And I don't want to ruin it. But for me, the end result, I think it was the very first exercise. And I'm still like tough girl here, right? Like I'm not letting anyone touch me. I don't need no man. I don't need no, like it's just really survivalist. Was me sitting around a campfire with a bunch of people laughing. And I'm a backpacker and I do a lot of outdoor stuff. So it didn't seem like a way out there idea, but what was way out there was at that time I was in a depression, hardcore, really, really bad. I was wondering if there was like some bipolar stuff going on, wasn't sure. I was in and out of the hospital 3 times for physical ailments that no one could really find out what was wrong. The burnout was real. Still not quite sure of the illness part. And now I'm leading groups in a outdoor restoration theory. It's an organization that I founded during the program that helps other people in the same situation I was in with burnout or depression or whatever. If you just want to get outside, like I started this program and now I'm leading groups. I'm confident in myself at work. I was not super timid, but I had, or I want to say had, it still creeps up sometimes, but I'm now equipped to deal with it, imposter syndrome. And for some of those who might not know who that is, I bet most of you do, but some of those who might not know what that is, that's when you don't feel like you're good enough to be where you are. And I suffered from that a lot. Again, German company, a lot of high-powered attorneys around me, a lot of men. Um, I had a hard time feeling like I could handle it. And I didn't want that to show. And now I walk in there, and the other day I was in a meeting at work with a couple men, and we were talking about, getting in trouble with certain behaviors and things like that. And I brought in feelings into it. I said, guys, listen, I know we don't talk about emotions a lot in corporate, but I want to make a point in bringing this up because you need to also trust your gut whenever we're talking about certain things at work, just like stuff I would never do. I dyed a little bit of my hair blue, just a touch, and I'm kind of pushing it at work a little bit. And I like it. I'm having fun at work. My boss and I completely repaired our relationship. We were struggling for a little bit. It's just, I don't even know. I'll keep going. And not paid here, guys. This is legit on my own, sharing what's going on right now. That doesn't even touch half of it, but it's going really well. And there's good days and bad days, just like anyone else still. But again, I want to bring it back to, I'm equipped for those bad days. And then in the good days, I can be present in them. And life is sweet. It's really sweet.
I mean, if you want to like throw confetti in the air and celebrate you, Charlotte. We will talk about all the work that you put in to make this your reality, right? You know this about me, but for those of you who don't know this about me, I didn't do this. Charlotte did this, right? Now, do we have a program that we take women through to teach them how to do this? Yes, but what Charlotte's saying is that she's learned tools to equip herself to be able to do these things. So we're talking, Charlotte, just to reflect, and then we'll talk about where you were in 12 weeks. And we haven't even talked about your relationship yet, which we'll get to in a sec. But in 12 weeks, you went from depression. We'll talk about the before, but you've already shared a little bit about that, like depression, your physical burnout symptoms, which we'll talk about more too, were off the charts. You were experiencing unresolved health stuff, which we see happening all the time to the women who come in our program, right? There's illness, there's autoimmune, there's just unexplainable stuff, depression. You were on the verge of quitting your job. You were actually, potentially weeks away from walking away from this career. And where you are now is that you walk into work as you're an attorney, right? So like in a sea of men, and not only are you confident, not only do you know how to deal with the imposter syndrome and those feelings of not good enoughness when they come up, but you also have restored your relationship with your boss. You're bringing in some of the principles of feminine leadership, right, that we've talked about in the program around emotions and feelings and deeper connection and vulnerability. And then you're having fun at work. I mean, one of the greatest things that happened, I remember at the end of the program, was, do you want to tell us a little bit about this, about how you started to have fun at work? I mean, there's the blue hair is a perfect example of it, but will you just give us the little taste of like what you did, one of those, the games you started playing at work again?
Yeah, so I'm a prankster. It's one of my favorite things, and I had totally lost that, except when I was like hiking with my friends. It's the only time I'd come out, and even lately, I wasn't even doing that. So here's what I've been doing lately, okay? Again, very professional office. First the blue hair. Then they always call me like the drum circle girl. And so I had my bongo, go figure, in the back of my car because I was going to let my friend borrow it. And I said, you know what? Pardon my French, but not pardon my French. Fuck it. I am bringing that thing in. And I literally walked into the office, like playing the bongo and saying like Kumbaya. And everyone came out of their office and they were laughing. And for like 20 minutes, we totally took a brain break and we were just ripping on each other, but like in a kind, loving way. And cool, I'm a weird drum circle chick. I'm gonna lead into that and own it because I like it. And if other people aren't that way, I'm not afraid to be that way anymore. It's really cool. Other things, like I I post little memes all over the office. Like when no one's looking, I'll like print some out and put them in random places. And life is short. Like you've got to have fun. And part of what I realized that I'm here for is to remind others of that. First, to get it back for myself, which I have, but then to bring it to others if they're open to it.
Yeah. I love what you're saying so much. And I think what I want to say about this, both for you, Charlotte, and both for all of you, for everybody who's listening, is like what I heard you say. We identified very early on in the program that one of your main purposes in life is fun, right? And it had been a part of yourself that you lost, that you shunned. And in place of that, you became overly responsible, and, you felt like you had to like fit in. And exactly. And what that did for you over time is you stopped actually being true to yourself. And when we stop being true to ourselves, it doesn't matter what job we have, we're going to hate it. And we're going to eventually want to burn it all down because we feel like we're in a box. We've boxed ourselves in. And so much of the work we did with you, Charlotte, was to help you heal that part of yourself that didn't feel like it could be fully you. And I remember at one point during the program, we talked about, you were like, I want to be the woman in the corner office and the woman who's got blue hair.
Yeah.
Can I have both? Can I be myself and have a badass career and a successful, more professional one? And so what I'd love for you to talk about, and we don't need to go too deep here, right? And you don't need to talk about the process in any way, but there is a journey that I take women through, that you've gone through, that you're a testament to, of what it means to reclaim who you are, to remember who you are, to reclaim who you are, right? And then for many women, right, that's what leads to the confidence. That's what leads to then you being like, oh my God, I need to start this outdoor restoration club and take people in nature and in hikes, which you're doing all the time now, right? There's this new creative expression and new outlet. But that's a journey. And not everybody's version of it is joy. Other people's is something else, right? Like the different flavors of the women who were in the group with you. Yours was joy, right? Stasha's was something else. Michelle's was something else, right? Everybody's is slightly different. But I'm wondering, for anyone who's listening right now, if you could tell them, like, what was the first thing you did? Or what is one piece of guidance that you would want to give women like you who have successful lives, careers you would never see on the outside, that they were miserable or that they were lost, but on the inside they're feeling that way in some capacity? What do you want them to know, or what piece of advice would you want them to have? Or maybe what's the first thing you did to reclaim that? Is there anything you want to say about that?
I've got a couple different things swimming around. Okay. I think the most important thing, let me feel it. The most important thing that I would like to share with anyone listening right now is trust the process. And here's just a little addition onto that. Someone told me that before I met Julie and started the program. And I was like, what does that mean? Great. That's going to help me. Thanks. I'm about to seriously walk out of my job and burn it down here and like start van life and be like a blogger. I don't know. I didn't get it. But when my body was like, I'm again 32 years old and I'm falling apart, past tense. No, it's not because colds and flus travel a lot in the office. No, it's not because I travel a shit ton. It's not, yes, that can contribute, but it's not normal for your body to be that sick all the time. Or even if it's not illness, maybe it's or physical. I don't even want to say physical, because mental illness, I believe, is also physical. But any type of illness, like, listen to your body, trust the process. Your body is trying to tell you something. And I'm so freaking glad that there were people there to support me and help me listen to it. That's the biggest piece of advice. I even have it written, and every morning when I wake up, I say it to myself, trust the process. It's saved my life. That's really beautiful. And what I hear you saying, tell me if I'm hearing this right. What I hear you saying in trust the process is whatever's happening in your life is exactly what it's supposed to be, right? So even like when you look back at your life 4 months ago when we met,
and you were in and out of the hospital with unexplainable health stuff, and you were on the verge of quitting your job and burning it all down and walking away from all the hard work, all the education, all the money, everything. Like, you were on the verge of that, depressed, lost. That was part of the process. That was actually what it took for you to then get to the point where you changed it. And then what I also really want to dial in, and this is so important what you're saying, Charlotte, just to make sure that I hear it and that everybody listening and watching hears it, is that when we talk about the physical symptoms, what you're saying is that all the physical symptoms are the depression, the chronic flu, your back getting thrown out, the digestive issues, whatever it is, because it's different for every woman here. But those are actually symptoms of the real problem.
Right.
Those aren't the problem. Is that what you're saying?
Right. And even like certain addictions. I mean, I faced those a couple years ago, but they were coming out in other ways, like food, binge eating, like that kind of stuff. I mean, my God, your body talks.
It does. So there's this point where, I mean, we talk a lot about homeostasis
right.
at one point in the program, and it's like this need, we're always constantly seeking balance, right? And so when our bodies are off balance, it's supposed to feel like shit because it's trying to get our attention. So I guess that's really what you're saying to these women who are in the position where you were, is like, don't ignore it. Like, it's like your body's trying to shake you and wake you up, right? Yeah. It's an opportunity for transformation in some way.
It is. And the other thing too, I want to add into that very strongly, is that also, whenever I was about to make the decision on whether, I wanted to face all this or not, I got really scared, guys. Like, I got really scared. And that was my mind trying to, like, not listen to my heart, not listen to my body, and just say, no, it's change. It's change. Oh my God, this, I'm, at least I know the devil I know, or whatever that phrase is. But I jumped in. Oh my God, I jumped in and I was so scared. And I would do it again. 1,000,000 times over, I would do it again.
So I want to come back to that in a second, because I think you're bringing up a really good point of like what happens when we're on the verge of change. But I think a way to explain it even more is to talk about a little bit more about where you were. And then we'll actually even look at the application that you sent in, which was February, March, April, May, June. So 4 months ago. Okay, babe, not even 4 months ago. So we're going to look at that too, just so you can get a picture of this and everybody listening can hear where Charlotte was. I wonder, Charlotte, we've talked about the depression, the health stuff, some of the addiction, like the binge eating stuff. Is there anything else that you want to tell us about where you were when you found me and ultimately decided to join the program? Like, you want to tell us about any more of like the pain or the problems that we haven't mentioned already?
There was a time where I was driving down I-95 during Christmas thinking about, why don't I just open this car door and jump out? Like, it was not anything I'd ever experienced before. Yeah. So just done. Done. And, I'm being open about that, because I know that's not everybody's story, or maybe we've had those thoughts, but then we ignore them because, whoa, that's really creepy. That's really scary. I don't want to, burn that down or really jump out or this or that. But it was that bad. I was that ill. And I'm so, I was that ill. And, especially too with like unprocessed grief, my father, my brother, a lot of other people have passed away, and within close periods of time in my life, stuff that, just the denial that I was in to get into law school. Okay, my dad died. Okay, I need to focus on school. I need to focus on this, all the distractions, never processing that kind of stuff. There's a lot, and I don't want to take up all the time talking about all that stuff. You guys are probably getting the picture. But again, if there's anyone that wants to reach out, I'm more than happy to share, but I don't want to give unsolicited advice either.
Thank you, sweetheart. And thank you for being so honest and so vulnerable about where you were, just to paint a picture of where you were 6 months ago, of like, maybe I don't want to continue to live. And whether I know that there's other women who have joined the program who have felt the same way. And I know that maybe some people's story who's listening now, and that may not be your story, right? But we kill ourselves slowly in different ways when we ignore ourselves, right? Some of us may be killing ourselves because we're working 15 hours a day and ignoring our bodies. Some of us are killing ourselves because we're sedentary, because we're depressed, because we're simply not living. So I want to acknowledge that there are lots of different ways to slowly kill ourselves, if not get to that point where it feels like we're really considering taking our own life. And I think it's such an important share, Charlotte, of just to understand the intensity of where you were. Mm-hmm. And you said something that's so interesting that I'm wondering if you could go a little bit deeper with it, if you want to share anything, which is how your achieving was covering something. Huh. And I think this is such an important point for high achieving, successful women, because on the outside, it doesn't seem like we're covering anything. It just seems like we're running laps around other people. Yeah. But I'm curious if you would speak to what you realized, some of the things generally or specifically that you've been covering achieving.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, some of the things I was covering with achieving were things that I didn't realize I was even struggling with, like the need to please. I had heard about people pleasing through other things, but the depth and the severity of it and when it started, that's just one of many different things. Feeling validated. It hit me like a ton of bricks. I watched some sort of thing, Julie, that you had online before. It was like before I had even talked to you or sent you an inquiry, it was something that you had that was available online for anyone to find, and I watched it. It was like a PowerPoint presentation. Mm-hmm. And what I realized from that was that overachieving wasn't because, and I'm not saying this in any way, but it wasn't because I was, I'm a badass and I can do better than other people and I'm, more important than other people and all this stuff. It's because inside I had this like insatiable desire to please others, and that's where I got my validation from. Yeah. So whenever I started having like a rocky situation at work, and I spent like, God, how many hours would I say? I think if you put my life in a wheel, 90% of it was work. It was sick. It was sick. Sometimes it would be, 75, 80. But it was, if something wasn't going well at work, that 90% of my life was fucked because my whole life was basically focused on work. Yeah. And let me tell you guys something. And Julie, I know I've shared this with you, but I also want to say this again for you to witness it, is that nothing around me changed, which is pretty amazing. It was actually a quest like within. And so many things have changed from that, but my job didn't change. I actually got promoted. So, like that changed. Cool. Yeah, I'll take more money. But it was the work that I did inside. I don't know how to explain it really, other than I put the work in and it really pays off in a way that just is like magical. Like I think magical is the word.
I totally get that. Says the lawyer, right? Says the attorney, by the way. Magical, right? And so I know, I get that. And what I watched that happen with you, Charlotte, and what I want you all to hear Charlotte saying, and this is why I will make sure that I post the link to that presentation so anybody who wants to watch it can. But part of what I teach in that is it's not the job, it's you, right? It's not the job, it's you. And it's exactly what you're saying. You can hop from job to job to job, but like it's an inner job, right? Like that's really what life is all about. So what I hear you saying is nothing on the outside changed. Your job didn't change. Your boss didn't change his personality. Like you didn't quit. Like you actually got promoted, right? What shifted is what you did on the inside. And when you did that work on the inside, right, to heal some of the people pleasing, the perfectionism, the over functioning, the nice girl, all those power pitfalls that we talk about, the ways women give away their power, the ways we end up burning out. When you heal those pieces, you don't expect as much from your job anymore because your identity has now been detached from your job. And so many highly successful women don't realize that that drive for success isn't organic. It is because our worth is attached to our work. And when you detach your worth from your work, which is what we do in the program, which is what you experience, then you get a promotion. You get more money, right? You get along with your boss better. You start playing games at work. You have permission to be yourself. You enjoy life more. You start outside activities, right? I mean, so I just want to acknowledge what you're saying, and I want to make sure all of you hear what Charlotte's saying, that this is the key. Nothing outside of you has to change. You just have to be willing to say, okay, I'm going to go on this quest. Mm-hmm. And it's an inner quest. Yeah. So
if I may, one quick
please. Thing. Yes.
The other thing too is I'm still just as productive, if not even better, because I was so sick and burnt out that I would like stare at the screen like like I'm not even gonna make the face longer than that, but you guys get it. Like I was just staring at the screen like,
yeah.
What was I doing? Crap. What was I doing? Okay, 5 minutes later. What was I doing? You know, and you know, I need to function better than that to do the job I'm doing. And now I'm functioning even better, spending less time at work.
That's mind blowing. So, and I think it's a really good point, because a lot of women are afraid that when they do this, it means they're not going to do as much work or they're not going to be as productive. And what you're saying is you now have learned how to be more productive, spending less time at work. You're more efficient and you're getting more done because you're not burnt out, because you have tools to make sure you're not burnt out.
And I'm more respected. I'm also finding that I'm coming off as more of a leader. And that's something that I really wanted. So for those of you who aren't interested in that, cool. For me, that's something I wanted.
Totally.
It's cool to spend less time at work and start coming off as more of a leader.
Yeah. So I can lead more. I can spend less time at work. I can be more productive. I can get promoted. I can have a life outside of work. Like, right? Sign me up for that, right? Because nobody taught us how to do that. Most of us just taught us we just all learned how to work and work harder and work harder. And it's that hamster wheel that we can't get off, right? And so congratulations on getting off of the hamster wheel, Charlotte. You did it. So let's look at a couple sentences from your application. So this was 4 months ago. Okay. And one of the questions was, really, what are you struggling with right now? Tell me what's not working. And you said, I have spent so much time masking who I am and overachieving that I burned out last year and got really sick. I'm still at my job now, but I'm struggling to find what a new normal looks like for me. And I daydream about quitting my job and living life on the open road as a freelance anything.
Pretty much.
And you said, I long for freedom and authenticity. And so I really want to check in with you on those two words. 4 months later, how close do you feel to freedom and authenticity?
I totally forgot about that. And the fact that those are the two words you're bringing up, like I want to cry, because those are that's what I have. Both. It's so cool. I have freedom and authenticity, and it just is. I'm content, and I've never been able to say that in my life.
That makes my heart so happy. And there's also something so powerful about the word content.
Yeah.
I personally choose contentment over happiness, because happiness feels like this weird thing we're all trying to strive for. And what does that even mean? Because sometimes we are going to be sad, right? That's the human experience. But contentment, I think it speaks to even that part of you that's like, you're like, no matter what happens, I'm equipped to deal with it now. And there's not that constant chase that you're doing anymore. There's just like a settling that's happened in you. Yeah.
It's a stable settling too, because my initial settling before I did the work, when all the material things were settling, like the job, the house, the relationship, those looked like they were settling on the outside, but it was still really chaotic. And now, Julie, when I hear you say settling, it's a legit something I feel in my heart for real.
That's really, really, really beautiful. And I was just thinking of like how many women out there do all those things on the outside, right? They get the job, they may get the partner, they get the money, they get the title, and then they wake up and they're like, but why do I feel so dissatisfied, so discontent on the inside? And many women feel like it's because they're wrong or they've done something wrong. So I wonder if, we do this program in a group format, right? And so not only was it you, but your experience was normalized by dozens of other women. And so I'm curious if you could share with the woman right now who's got it all looking good on paper, and on the inside, she just feels like something is off. What would you want her to know?
You're not crazy. Trust the process. Your body is trying to tell you something. Please, please, if it's the only time I ever meet you, listen to it.
Mm-hmm. You're not crazy. Trust the process. Your body is trying to speak to you. Listen to it. And then what I would add on the back of that is, if anything about this call has resonated with you and you want to explore whether or not the team, this journey that Charlotte's gone on, if the journey is right for you, book a call with us, right? It's the most courageous thing that you can do, and it's the action you can take for yourself right now. And all you have to do is go to juliesantiago.com/talk. Now, this is the same talk that Charlotte scheduled 4 months ago and filled out that quick little application afterwards. And Charlotte, I mean, that decision to book that call changed the course of your life, right? That was the first decision you made. And then the second decision you made was to sign up for the program. And I do want to talk to you about the fear that came up, because you mentioned it. And then I think we'll talk a little bit about that, and even your husband. But you were really scared to sign up, even though you knew that you were depressed, about to quit your job, on the verge, your body was speaking to you. Like, all this stuff was obviously falling apart.
Questioning life, guys.
Questioning life itself. And then we talked. And I'm wondering, when we talked, did you know that I had a solution for you? Did you know that it was the right decision? What was the doubt in your mind that came up? I think it's really important, because there will be women who will book a call who will be like you. And some of those women, look, here's what we do on that call. We're going to talk for an hour, me and you, or me, you and somebody on my team. And we're going to tell you whether or not we really believe that we can help you. If we can't, we're going to be honest with you and give you other resources. But if we honestly believe that you can be our next client spotlight success story like Charlotte, we're going to tell you that, and we'll offer you a spot in our program. But we don't offer those spots to everyone. And then without fail, there's going to be a point where you have to decide to go on that quest, where you cross the threshold from the known territory into the unknown territory and say, I'm scared, but like, I'm going to walk into these woods with Julie as my guide, and the woods are dark. So I'm curious, Charlotte, for you, what was the scariest part about making the decision to commit to yourself like this?
The scariest part for me, just total transparency, was spending the money. Mm-hmm. And listen, I have a wedding coming up in October, just had an $18,000 repair to my house. There's not money flying around in my life right now. And that was the scariest part for me. And I remember thinking, I could go to an inpatient program or like all this other stuff, which in the experience that I've seen, and it doesn't speak for everyone else, but the experience that I've seen, a lot of people end up on all these types of medications and potentially relapsing with whatever they're struggling with, which is always possible for anyone. Or I could invest in myself here and go the spiritual internal route and not mask it anymore. And that was also scary. The other thing too was, the whole survivalist thing in me, the whole I don't need a man, like I'm fiercely independent, was my fiance. Yeah, I could spend the money on my own. And I made it very clear to Julie in the beginning, like, yes, I can spend this on my own. I don't need to ask him, And then I thought about it and I was like, but I really want to respect our relationship and talk to him. And you talked to him, Julie, as well. Mm-hmm. And I remember whenever his name is Sai, whenever Sai came home after speaking with you, and he was like, do it.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now that I have like texts from, there's like 6 or 7 people that have sent me texts saying, this is the healthiest you've ever looked. This is the best version of you I've ever seen. Sai, who lives with me day in and day out and sees me when I'm PMSing, when I'm winning the lottery of life, when I want to punch a hole in the wall, told me that the change has been incredible. And he's a dude. Some dudes have that sensitive language, but coming from him, it's incredible to hear something like that. I didn't think that was possible, and that was a huge fear. When I remember exactly where I was talking to you, and I'm closing my eyes because I can see myself. I was crouched over like this, talking on the phone with you, hiding in an office, in my office, with the lights off, just thinking there's no way. Like, I'm beyond, like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do my job anymore. I was rocking back and forth like this, and I remember talking to you, and at the end of that call, I still had some normal doubt, like the whole no one can help me type of thing, the whole, not self-pity, but just like, this is so scary where I'm at. I don't even know what's wrong, so how can someone help me? But I had hope, and I hadn't felt that in a while, to be honest. The only time I felt hope, other than when you and I talked, Julie, was whenever I was looking at van life vans for sale so I could run away from my problems again and continue to not face them. So yeah, long-winded way of saying I was scared as hell.
Yeah.
But I jumped in, and I would do it. I would do it over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
If it was needed.
Honey, I'm just like, my mouth, it's just like, I'm smiling. I have tears in my eyes. It's truly incredible to witness and to know where you were at the beginning of that call, which is, I'm beyond help. No one can help me. You know, like, I'm so messed up, right? We all have versions of that, right? How can she help me? I can't even help myself. What it takes for an independent, I could do this on my own woman, to be ready to ask for help, right? That takes so much. And then to acknowledge the financial piece, that it was a financial commitment to say, I'm going to do this, and to be courageous enough to say, and I'm going to do the deep work that it's going to take. This is not an easy journey. It's why we don't let everybody into the program, right? It's why we don't invite everyone into the program, right? It's like, I don't know if I can help you or not until I get on the phone with you. But the moment you and I talked, Charlotte, I knew, right? I knew. And I'm only going to invite you in if I know. And here we are 4 months later, and you have the people that are most important in your life reflecting that you look happier than you've ever been, healthier than you've ever been, more confident than you've ever been. And that radiates on this call. And I know everyone listening and watching can feel that too. So I bow to your journey, Charlotte, and the intense path that you walked, and the ecstatic, joyful path that you walked as well, and the joy you brought to every single call, and the joy that you're spreading in your life now, not just for yourself, but now for other people too, because you've done the work for you. And that's what we do, right? We do it for ourselves so that we can change the world. And I know that you're doing that, not just with your family, right, but also with your colleagues and with all of the people who now get to experience whatever you choose to create in the world. So thank you for being so courageous all those months ago to book the call and then to sign up and now to share all of your wisdom with us. It's a true gift, honey.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Understatement of the year. Thank you.
So ladies, for all of you watching, I'm going to give you that link one more time. It's juliesantiago.com/talk. And what that's going to do is it's going to lead you to our calendar. Me or my team will someone on the team. It'll either be me or someone else trained by me who will have a conversation with you about where you are and where you want to go, what you're struggling with, and whether or not our program can help you. And if it can, we're going to tell you that. We're going to invite you in. We're going to make a plan for us. And if we can't, we're going to give you lots of other resources. Okay, so you'll walk away with so much from this call, no matter what. And Charlotte, thank you. We're about to stop recording, and then I'm going to get to see your husband and your mom, and then we're going to, all four of us are going to do a little celebration together. So thank you again. Are there any last words you want to say before we complete to the women watching, for yourself? Just anything else you want to say before we go?
This is cliche, but cliches exist for a reason. Listen to your body, whether that's your mind, whether that's your stomach, whether that's whatever it is. Yeah, listen to it.
Listen to your body. I feel like that has been such a theme, that there's wisdom there. Listen to your body. Don't ignore it. And also, don't keep taking the quick fixes. I heard you say that a lot. Yeah. Do the real inner work to heal what's really going on. So
it wasn't as hard as I thought it would be to face these really hard things. It really wasn't. It was a challenge, but looking back and when I was in the moment with it, I remember being like, oh, this is what I was avoiding this whole time? What's not that bad? Come on.
It's not that bad. Oh, they're just feelings. Oh, I just have to feel my feelings. Okay. Totally.
I get to be content. I get to, so. Yeah.
Thank you, dear one. Thank you all for listening, for watching. Please feel free to post questions, comments, anything you've got below. And Charlotte, again, thank you for your beautiful presence.
Thank you.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Bye, guys.